videos, we've been recording television live, we've been doing all kind of live broadcasts showcasing our candidates for the Genesee County area. This is very important because these elections that are coming up, I tell you, they're very important. Also the presidential election. All of these elections are very important, and you, the public, you need to learn how to vet the people that are coming into office, because if you don't know who you're putting in office, we're going to be in more trouble than what we've been in. We know the Good Old Boy is out there club, and they're out there telling people who they should vote for. We know that different organizations are doing their endorsing and things because they want into office who they want to put in there. And if they can persuade you, and if I know you're not going for the okie doke, I hope you're not. I hope you are paying attention, because no one should be able to tell you who to put into office without you knowing their background, what they stand for, what they represent, and actually who they're representing. If they have a little personal reason that they're getting into office to change things for private groups, certain sectors, we need to know these things. So today, it's going to be interesting because we have two ladies on here today that are running for the same seat. And guess what? Yes, I wanted it this way because you need to see that they're also willing to work together. And so the beautiful thing is that we, the people, need to understand, and you need to listen very closely today, because these are the individuals that you're going to be putting into office. And I'm going to let them all introduce themselves. I like to do that because they know more about themselves. And then we're going to move right along. And remember, you still can call in and ask us questions. You can give the questions if you want, and we'll be able to answer those questions live. But if you don't call in, we're not going to be able to answer them because everything turns into recordings after this. So we're going to do ladies first. And we're going to start with... Go ahead, Claudia.
Good morning. I'm Claudia Perkins Milton. I am running for the 34th District Representative seat. I am anxious to get busy in Lansing. I have, my platform is building Flint up and moving it forward. I have a lot of things on my heart as I am a Flintstone. Some of the things that I think are very dire to what's going on now is the emergency manager law. We need to definitely get rid of that because that's what poisoned us. We need to work on our school systems. We have no public schools in the city of Flint that are worth anything. The last one, as I understand, Northwestern is closing. We have concerns with the infrastructure. So many things are going on right now, and we need somebody with a voice, with experience, and with qualifications to sit in that seat. So I am running for the 34th District State Representative seat. I also am a mother. I'm a union rep at the highest level. I have worked in so many capacities in this city and gone all the way to Washington, D.C. on many occasions for the privilege of serving the Flint area. So that's who I am.
Thank you, Claudia.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hard act to follow. And there's much respect, but thank you, Pastor Cynthia Watkins, for having me here. And you are a courageous woman, and I appreciate you. And people really don't know, it's more like a family thing that we have a connection, but I see your ministry, and it's something that's appreciated in our community, and we need that. I'm Tanya Burns. I'm running for 34th district. I don't know which camera I'm in. That one. Okay, I want the one that makes me look 20 pounds smaller. I am running for 34th district state representative. My platform consists of many things. For me, it is moving Flint forward together in unity in our community, because that's something we have to have with all the divisiveness that we have. One of the things I like to tell people, first of all, my greatest job is that I'm a mom. I was told I'd never have children. I have 3 children. I am the first female black owner of an ADT dealership, a businesswoman, person in Michigan and Illinois. So I've accomplished some things along with working. My previous job, last job, was economic development, and that's one of the things that is driving, that I see the importance and making sure we move Flint forward, that we have to make sure that economic development is a basis of bringing those tax dollars in. And my platform is inclusive economic development, because we had, out of 52 companies, only 3 of them received funding. And that is disproportionate when we talk about coming out of a pandemic, that our companies are going to be able to survive and thrive. We look at all of the monies when they come in, and we look at our downtown area, which is thriving, and people have to pay attention. We've got the Flint Classical Academy, we've got the Sloan Museum, we have got the Flint Public Library, which has got some funding. We have the Hilton. Now, if Hilton is bringing in and building up a hotel, we have to pay attention to what's going on. And we have one new business on the north side, which is the Don Donuts. And they're having to fight to even get their franchise that they were told that they were supposed to get. I've been assisting them with that. I've gotten with PNC Bank to actually help and give them support. And then also with the NAACP to make sure that they get that franchise, because it's a black-owned family business. When we talk about what the purpose of going to Lansing, for me it's important. There's many committees that you serve on. The most important committee for me is the Appropriations Committee, because that's how the money is funneled through. It's how the money, where it goes. So we want to know that Flint's getting our fair share. The other one is the tourism and commerce. Why is that important? And people may question that, because we have to rebrand Flint. We have to let people know and let them see it through our eyes, because each of us here, we have a love for Flint, and we need to let other people see that. I call Flint a plug-and-play city, because we have the highways, the byways, and the railways, and we have Bishop Airport, which is still growing. So with us having all of that, we need to let other people see that bring your business here so we can grow our city, our great city. I won't take up everybody's time.
She's running for office.
I'm just passionate.
Thank you. Go ahead, Judge.
I'm Judge Herman Maribel, and I have been a district judge here in the city of Flint for the last 20 years. And I'm running for the 7th Circuit Court, Genesee Circuit Court. Some people call it the Big Court. I think of the Big Court as the Supreme Court, but in any event, I'm running for a seat that's being vacated because Judge Mike Thiele has to retire. He's aged out. Now, presently, there are no judges from Flint on the Genesee County 7th Circuit Court. And I think that is a deficiency. It is my hope that the voters throughout this county will elect me. And I have, as I said, 20 years experience as a judge. I was a prosecutor for 9 years. I have 3 decades of experience to bring to the circuit court. And just incidentally, you know, when we talk about qualifications, who's qualified to be there, who's not, and I'm not saying people that are there aren't qualified, but I am saying that I have more judicial experience than all but 2 of the current circuit court judges. And the people that are running in this election, my opponents have not served as an actual judge. So I think that's important. And also, Reverend, I'm going to make a little bit of news today.
Okay, go right
And I don't know if you want me to do this now or wait, but I guess I can do it now.
Go ahead.
Okay. Before the week is out, it is my intention, as I've done in previous elections, to sign a pledge to reject special interest campaign money with entities that do business with the court, like the Landlords Association, like the process servers, that sort of thing. Now, there's no law against candidates taking those kind of donations, but to me, it's not right. I don't think justice should be for sale, and the practical reality, and you know, as I said, I've been an elected official for 20 years and was involved in politics, NAACP. I'm a life member, held offices in the state and local branch, and various other community organizations, but and Democratic Party as well. My experience tells me that when a politician endorses you, or when certain organizations endorse you, they have certain expectations. And I've never sought out the endorsement of other judges or other politicians. I just haven't generally done that in the 20 years. You know, the fact of the matter is, if the public can't judge me based on my record of 20 years,
That's good, Judge.
I'm not sure that I need some judge or politician who's been in office less time than me to co-sign that Judge Maribel is a good judge.
That's good.
Right.
I think that my record ought to be able to speak for itself after
Exactly.
20 years. So I've never really done that. So you're not going to see me put out campaign literature with a list of judges that have endorsed me. That's just not my style. But I'm going to sign this pledge this week. But more importantly, I'm going to challenge my opponents to do exactly the same thing. And I've done this before, and you know, my opponents never seem to want to sign the pledge not to take the special interest money.
Exactly.
I don't know why that is, but I hope that my two opponents do, and I'll be sending them an email, you know, in the next couple of days.
Thank you. Thank you, Judge.
You've heard it here first.
I like that. I like that. Go ahead, sir.
My name is Tim Johnson. I'm running for the office of Genesee County Sheriff. I have 40 years plus law enforcement experience. It's time for a dedicated, qualified, and experienced law enforcement official in this county to honestly fight crime and corruption without politics. You know, this county, and it's sad actually, but let me stay on point. To see what's going on in this county from a citizen's point of view and really not know the intricate working parts of what's happening and how they're actually not being represented. I'm here for true representation of the city, just like I did the city of Flint. I'm here for true representation of the county, and that's my platform. I'm going to work hard to serve everyone in this county, not just certain people, but everyone. And just like the judge said, I haven't taken any contributions from anyone like that either. I don't want to. I'm not in nobody's pocket.
That's good to know.
And actually, I never have been. I never wanted to be. I never wanted to be a politician. I always said I'm a public servant. You know, so that's where I'm coming from. And vet the candidates, and you'll see just who has the most experience, the most qualified, and who's done the most work in this county. I'm not Johnny come lately jumping on the scene today. I've been in this county for over 40 years, working hard to keep this city and these citizens safe. You know, so vet your candidates.
Exactly. I just want to kind of add some things in because I've been doing a lot of studying because of the Black Lives Movement, the pandemic, all the different things that's happening right now in the world. I tell you, we have to be so careful right now that we put individuals into office that is going to be there, that is going to work for us. Work for us. I was studying the other day with my group, and we found out that there are laws and in legislation that say NNA, no Negroes allowed.
That's
that is
right.
still in effect today. Also, we have what is called sundown cities where black people are not allowed. That's right. And we found out that they are still in effect. If someone wanted to push it and say we don't want Negroes in our area, it is still in the law books. And let me tell you people, this is why it is so important that when you understand that when you are putting people into office, they are there fighting for you. We want a sheriff that's going to be able to travel all throughout Michigan and be able to help everyone and not run into particular laws that say NNA and he's not able to do his job. Or do they already know this and this is why things are not happening? And it's just really sad, but we need to educate ourselves and understand that when we put these people into office, that they're going to be in there looking at these things and fighting for us. I just want to ask you, today about no Sundown City. Sundown City. How many of you have heard of Sundown City?
I've read the book.
Go ahead, Judge.
And
Judge. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I read the book, and as a matter of fact, the author of this book came to Flint. It's been a few years ago now, and talked about this book. I think he made a presentation at one of the local libraries, and I had a chance to go see it. But yeah, the whole concept was that there were cities all around the country, and he did a study of this, where black people, brown people had to leave at sundown. In some of these towns they would ring a bell, at sundown, and that was the time that people maybe who came to work in the town in the daytime had to leave. And there were certainly sundown cities in Michigan, and I know that surprised a lot of the people who
yes.
Were unfamiliar. But this was all over the country, not just in the South and all of that, but there were places in Michigan that were
That's
sundown.
right. That's right. Fenton, Flushing,
Right.
Michigan, right here in
Right.
our own backyard. And that's Fenton, Michigan, and Flushing.
No.
And I was, it kind of brought tears to my eyes because I was like, oh my God.
It's a lot of Jim Crow laws that you still have
Yeah.
that are on the books, and even being married to a person of different color. So when we look at these laws in a lot of these cities and some of the small towns, we don't have a large minority population. So they're unnoticed and they've never been taken off. But that is something that we do need to look at, because you should be able to travel wherever you want. The no Negro after sundown, you couldn't be on the streets. My grandmother used to talk about that. And they used to call the equivalent to, they would call black men boys, and they would call young black girls gals. And, I've had to explain, I'm going to say this year, I'm saying maybe like a month ago, that you cannot call black women gal, because that is the equivalent of calling a grown black man a boy. That they don't understand that. And we have to, our history is mostly oral history. So we pass down because we came from the South. I told it to my children, I tell it to everyone. But those laws are still there. My daughter she's going to be married, her fiance is Caucasian. In some states, she would not be able, cities, to be married to him. So we have to look at those things, when we talk about diversity, because the millennials see things differently. We had civil rights, they got Black Lives Matter. We did, rough and tough with your Afro puffs, and I'm black and I'm proud. I mean, it's different how they feel about things. The Black Lives Matter, they are more, and I don't like to use the word radical, but they're more stern about saying, we want, equality, and we want it now.
Exactly.
I do want to say, there's a series of court decisions and constitutional amendments that have, invalidated these types of laws. But it's the attitude behind them.
Right.
You can change the law, but you can't always change the attitude of the people.
The mentality, you're correct.
And, I think that this is going to be an interesting election in this county. It's going to be gut check time.
Yeah.
Because we have candidates that are running for county-wide office that are very well qualified. And we're going to have the opportunity to see whether or not the county is ready and willing and able to accept diversity. It's going to be an interesting time. We hear about the changes that are going on in the country. Well, it takes everybody to make change happen, and we're going to have a test in 3 weeks.
Exactly. And we have to realize too that while we're doing these things, and then after you guys are elected into offices, that you please do remember these things, because it's very important to us, the people, that you guys are in there fighting for us. Because I know that different individuals are going to be bringing these laws to you. They're going to be in your courts. They're going to be coming to you guys and saying, you know, these are some things that we found out that's happening that's not fair.
Right.
Because what we're saying is that all men are created equal. And we all are United States citizens.
Correct.
And we all should have the same rights. And there should not be no two bills of, you know, right. There's no two bill of rights.
Correct.
And the Bill of Rights are there to protect the people. And what we have found out, that I was studying the other case down in Georgia, there were certain laws that they had used to get those gentlemen off. And see, this is why I'm so thankful that we have, you know, individual lawyers today that are studying and that they're fighting against these things.
Right.
Because even with the television, they didn't want blacks to own television stations. And there were laws that were in effect and reasons why they couldn't own these television stations. And this is just straight up just awful. And so, like I'm saying again, we the people, we have to understand that it's not about putting your friend in the office.
That's right.
It's
right.
not about the old boy club. Or
That's right.
You know, because they approached all of us pastors and told us who certain people want to be in office. I'm not a pastor that can be bought. I'm sorry. You
Come
keep
on.
your money and what you promise for afterwards. No, I'm not putting in the office. And I'm gonna just say it today. I'm putting Tim Johnson in office, somebody that I know, that I've read his record, that I know what he's going to do. I know that he's going to stand for what he's always stood for. And so I want you to understand that it's so important. And I'm not doing this for you to like whatever I'm saying. I'm just saying you need to do the same thing. You need to know who you are putting into office. So with that note, I want you guys to speak on. Go ahead.
I want to say something, and I really don't care how a lot of people take it. They need to listen, and they need to really scrutinize what I'm getting ready to say. It may not be fashionable, but I'm going to say it. And it has to do with your introduction, Pastor. You talked about people getting behind certain people's special interests, putting people in that they're friendly
right.
with, or that they can manipulate.
There you go.
Now, I'm going to say, I know I'm one of the most qualified people in my particular race. However, I grew up a product of the UAW. That's the United Auto Workers. Now, I know for a fact one of the candidates in our race was not qualified, period. I put in so much time in the UAW, and the UAW set the pace for every job that's in the world. Sexual harassment in the workplace, no discrimination in the workplace, wages, all of those things, organized labor set into place. And they should be honorable enough to do the right things.
That's right.
Now, I was called by the UAW to interview. I didn't call them, they called me. I went for the interview. And some people that I worked with firsthand, I worked so diligently in the UAW, I have the highest award in the UAW. It's called the Walter Reuther Award. It's a Lifetime Achievement Award. And one of the opponents that I'm running against got endorsed by the UAW over somebody like me, and they have no platform. They have not attended not one of our forums. And I think that's disgraceful, because you should know each and every one of our platforms, our qualifications, what we're about.
That's right.
And the other unions too. One union in particular endorsed this same person and had not interviewed any of the rest of us. This is disgraceful, and that's what I want the public to look at, really look at. Now, I've been fighting in the UAW and in the community for over 40 years. I have. I've been to the White House more times than I can count. Been hit with tear gas on picket lines, led the marches in Washington, and this very last strike that we just had, they didn't even have enough people to man the gates out on the new Davidson Road facility. So I got up, my retired self, and took the Democracy Defense League out there, and I trained each gate. until the strike was over, and they were happy. Those are the things I'm talking about. An activist, I've been there. I'm out there.
That's good, Claudia.
I'm a Democracy Defense League executive board member. I've been in Supreme and federal court for the lawsuits recently, which they're about to be settled. So anybody who is not a part of it needs to get signed up, and they can reach me on www.claudia4staterep.com or my number 810-691-9398. They can do that. I'm saying there are some of us that are in the race that are really about Flint. I hate the way the north end looks. It looks like death warmed over. Houses, the grass is growing up over the houses.
That's true.
Right.
Blight everywhere. It was so much garbage on one of the streets the other day that I passed, I just shook my head. What is the administration doing downtown? My God, come on. Let's be real. It's time to get real and send people to Lansing and anywhere else that are going to do the job for the people of the city of Flint.
That's good.
That's where I'm at. I'm not just doing this. I did a lifetime of working in the UAW, but now I got time to focus on this particular job. That's why I'm running, because I love Flint and the residents. And I have respect for a lot of the good people that I know that are in office and the ones that are running for office, like Mr. Johnson. Because I know him, a church person, somebody that's got God in them, somebody that's going to lead and help take care of us. That's why I'm running.
That's good.
I want to piggyback on
Come on,
something
Jill.
that you said.
Follow that if you try.
Well, I'm going.
You can try it, though.
You can try.
Well, they sent me to law school, so I
He can do a
better
good
be able to
rebuttal.
talk.
He's got a good rebuttal. Always. He's listening to the point.
Well, no. One of the things that you said really resonated with me. There is a particular labor leader who I have known since I was an AFSCME member as an assistant prosecutor. We were members of AFSCME, and I'm a retiree. I'm not old enough to collect my pension yet. I think I got 2 or 3 more years before they let me collect a little tiny bit. But this is somebody who has supported me previously. And I'm not going to call his name, and I'm not going to call the name of the candidate.
That's right.
But he, when I had the conversation with him a few months ago, he says, well, so-and-so is my nephew that's running. And so, I can appreciate the fact, and this person is one of the most powerful labor leaders in the state of Michigan, okay? He actually is. And I'm not going to call the names, but the fact is, I guess I appreciate the fact that he didn't, try to give me a snow job. He was straight up with me. But the fact is, I guess as Sly and the Family Stone used to say, blood is thicker than the mud,
Okay.
Remember that song, Family Affair?
Yeah.
Or you might be too young, Ms. Burns.
I remember that.
You remember that song?
I remember that.
Well, that's the line
I
of
am
that song.
old school.
Blood is thicker than the mud. So, so I can appreciate, what you're talking about.
Okay, we are off WFLT. Are we ready, Roscoe? Okay. Hello and welcome to Meet the Candidates. Today we have a distinguished panel here. They're all running for Genesee County offices and they are prepared. And they're going to let you know today why you should put them into office. I'm going to have each of them to introduce themselves because no one can do it better than themselves. So we're going to start with ladies first.
No, with much respect. I've only walked the picket line one time at the 598. So respect to you first.
Okay, wonderful.
Hello, I'm Claudia Perkins Milton. I am running for the 34th District State Representative seat, and I would love to go to Lansing to help represent the citizens of Flint. I am a mother of 3. I have worked in so many venues in the city of Flint. I was a director of operations for the Greater Flint A. Philip Randolph Institute. I'm the vice president of the Million Woman March movement. I have been on the Ombudsman's Advisory Board as well as the YWCA board. I have started youth groups out of the neighborhoods on the street. I am a UAW representative. I was the first African American female to be the highest position in the bargaining unit for the UAW. I am now honored, and my portrait is hanging in the Flint Institute of Art Museum. I've led 10 major strikes, been hit with tear gas on picket lines. I'm Flintstone. I'm a Flintstoner, born and bred here. So
I would say so.
my position is build Flint up and move it forward. I want to help take care of the residents in the city of Flint. There are several things that I will be doing in Lansing. Most of the legislators, we would be sitting down with committees, with legislators on the committees. We'll be looking at over 4,000 bills that would 400 to 600 or 600 to 800 would become law. We will be trying to rescind anything that's on the books that's not doing the job, and then enacting laws. And only two positions can enact laws. That would be senators and state representatives. So those are the things that you need to know, that my concerns are about Flint, and here I am, and I'm ready to go for you.
Thank you, Claudia. Now you can go right ahead.
Well, thank you, Pastor Cynthia Watkins, for having me here, and all the distinguished guests. We had a little heated topic before, all this passion with
Yes.
these
We gotta keep it
Flintstones.
flowing.
Yes,
We're gonna
yes.
keep it going.
It rose to the occasion. I'm Tanya Burns, running for 34th District State Representative. I am a mom of 3 children. I am a business owner, first female business owner to own an ADT franchise in Michigan and in Illinois. Previously, I worked for in the Economic Development Department with the City of Flint, and I still work currently with the clients, because I didn't leave them behind, working to make sure that they're getting their fair share, that they're not left behind coming out of this pandemic. One of my proudest things in my life, I always say, is my children. That's the most important thing, because I've raised great individuals and independent thinkers. I've been in the community. I've done the water protest. I've taken my children because I needed them to see that nothing is given to you for free. And I used to tell and joke with people, I say, we need to have some marches in the warm weather. All of them were in the winter time when we went to Lansing, and it's cold. One of the most important things why I'm asking for people to send me to Lansing is because I want to make sure that we have, for my platform, it's inclusive economic development, making sure we're clearing the digital divide to make sure that every child can have a quality education and have it here in the city of Flint. Parents are now seeing their children outside of Flint. We have 4,000 children who actually attend Flint public schools. Approximately 8,000 go to out counties. We want to make sure that these children are getting this education without parents having to spend 30 to 45 minutes driving them back and forth. And that to me is something we have to focus on. Good and quality schools. Flint used to be actually like a bookmark for, people came here to model our schools, and we lost that. And we lost that during the 70s with the GM pullout. So we have to replace that. How do we replace it? That's why I say economic development is so important. We have to increase our tax base. One of the committees that I want to work on going to Lansing is the Appropriations Committee. The other one is the Commerce and Tourism. Why? Because Flint is a plug-and-play city. We need to attract new business. We need to make sure that we're growing. And I tell people, pay attention to what's growing in our city. The Hilton downtown, the new Sloan Museum, the new public library. And the new public library is awesome. I mean, it's going to be absolutely awesome. And I'm a reader. So when we look at these things, we need to, bring businesses and attract tourism. Bring those dollars in, then we need to spend that money on the north side of town.
Yes.
We have one business, and I'm fighting with that family. The Dawn Donuts is now black owned, to help keep that business. That deal was dead in the water. They told them, you have it, you have the franchise, and then they were facing economic racism. Then they came back and told them, we can't give it to you because of another owner said, that's going to affect my dollars that's coming from the black community. The thing about this place is there is the equipment that's already there. So it was there prior. That met all the criteria. So I told them, look, I'm not leaving you. You know, my job is maybe done with the city of Flint with restructuring, but you don't leave anybody behind like the military. No soldier left behind.
That's good.
We don't leave anybody behind, and fighting from now they took their denial to a reconsideration. And they said to a reconsideration. So something that was there too. They said, you know, we will have someone buy your equipment. Now they're looking at someone's going to, they're looking to get their approval. So we have to stay in our community, you know, unity in our community, because we have to stand up. If we want the North Side to grow, we have to band together. And this isn't political for me with them, because this family, one of the owners, you know, they met the criteria. They passed the background checks. They actually did the financial part. So they're more than qualified to have this business. And we need to rally around that Don Donuts. I've got PNC Bank. I contacted them. I had a contact with them to come help with this family. They were denied certain loans. That we know that certain loans, and I used to work in the banking industry. And in the banking industry, I learned that some of the guidelines were met for minorities so that we didn't get it. I remember we didn't have to ask for ID. When I worked in the bank in Saginaw, we didn't have to ask for ID when I worked at Saginaw Fashion Square, but we had to do it on the east side. And we could not. That was a reason for a write-up. So I learned a lot in the banking industry when we started doing loans, that there are discrepancies, that those guidelines mainly affect minorities. We are not given the benefit of the doubt. And that's something we have to have someone fighting, because we can't get a chance. And if we have stores and businesses in black communities, they need to be black owned. We need to see people who look like us, who own it, pride in ownership. And we don't have that. And that's something that I'm fighting for. And that is something that's important, because the color of my skin is the first thing I always told my children. I can't change. I'm female and I'm black. But don't underestimate me.
That's good.
Do not. But I'm going to let somebody else talk. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I sound like you, Miss Claudia.
That's okay. That's good. We keep that fire going. Go ahead, Judge. We're waiting on you.
Well, once again, I'm Judge Herman Maribel, and I have been the judge on the Flint District Court for the last 20 years. And I'm running for the 7th Circuit Court, also known as Genesee Circuit Court. And I want to bring my 20 years experience as a judge to the Circuit Court. Presently, there are no judges from the city of Flint currently on Circuit Court. I think that Flint certainly deserves to be represented on Circuit Court. And I certainly have the experience. In fact, I have more judicial experience than all but 2 of the current circuit judges. So most certainly I would look forward to bringing that level of experience to the whole county. You mentioned this on the radio, but I'm going to say it once again.
You say it.
Make a little bit of news. I am signing a pledge this week to reject campaign donations from special interest entities that do business with the court, like the Landlords Association, process servers, that sort of thing. Because even though it might be legal to accept that kind of money, everything that's legal isn't always the right thing.
That's right.
And to me, that's just not the right thing, because I think that a lot of times when this happens, people have expectations
That's right.
that their donations are going to get them some sort of a special access. And I've been around politics long enough to know that when politicians or certain special interests
That's right.
endorse you or contribute money, that they have certain expectations. And that's just not what I believe in. Justice
That's right.
is not
That's
supposed
good,
to be
Judge.
for
That's
sale.
good.
So I'm going to sign that pledge, and I'm going to challenge my opponents to do the same.
That's a good thing.
I'm
That's
going to be
good.
emailing them, and we'll see if they do that. The other thing that was mentioned, and I think Ms. Burns talked about the digital divide, and that might have been in the previous segment. But we have a digital divide certainly in Flint. And if you go to the Flint Courier News, the Courier, you know, it used to be the CPSA Courier, it's Flint Courier News. They have a Facebook page or whatever. There's an article that they reprinted that I published about how the digital divide is affecting the composition of juries in this county. And basically, you know, you can go to their site and read this. Basically, when you fill out a questionnaire, when they summons you for jury service now, you can only fill out the questionnaire online. They only allow it to be done online. It used to be that you would mail it in, the county would pay for the stamp, and if they picked your name, you were selected to come downtown and possibly serve on a jury. Now you can only fill out that questionnaire online. So what's happening in a city like Flint, where 49% of the people don't have computers
Or internet.
That's right.
and that's the other thing. Even fewer, the people that do have computers, fewer of them have internet. I mean, it's like a big.
And the
There could-
pandemic, so you can't
Yeah.
go to the library and use public things.
Well, that's true as well. But you know, you really shouldn't have to.
That's right.
Exactly.
You know, other counties like Washtenaw County, Ingham County, Wayne County, the federal court system, they don't do it this way. They give you the option of filling it out online or
That's
doing a
good.
paper questionnaire. And what we are finding is that you have senior citizens, you have poor people,
Right,
people who aren't computer users. You know, they're not in the jury pool.
right.
That's right.
And this is a step backwards from what maybe 10 years ago in this county. There was a campaign that they had to make sure that underrepresented people participated. It was called the "It's Not Fair If You're Not There" campaign. They had billboards and T-shirts. Some of you may or may not remember this, but they were trying to encourage
That's good. That's
people
good.
to serve on juries. Took a giant step backwards. Well, when this decision was made down at circuit court, you know, this is not a decision that was made in the courtroom. It's made, you know, somewhere in administration or among the judges or whatever. You know, I don't know exactly who made the decision. You know, somebody wasn't thinking about people in a town like Flint. So having representation
That's right. That's important.
is important, not just in the courtroom, but even outside of the courtroom,
That's
because that's impacting how justice is administered throughout the whole system. You know, somebody wasn't thinking about that when this decision was made.
That's
I mean, I hope and pray that it wasn't made, you know, deliberately with the intent to exclude certain folks. But, you know, again, if somebody's at the table to raise these kinds of issues,
That's
you know, they
that's
can be
good.
addressed. The conversation changes. So that's why it's important. And you know, it's not even just Flint. You know, it's funny. I got a call from a guy in Flushing who's 69 years old, and he told me he's never owned a computer, never felt the need to own one, and he got, you know, a summons, and he wanted to know, you know, if he was going to go to jail if he didn't fill this out. And you know, I'm not even. One other thing I'm going to make on this point. One other thing. It was last year, I think about this time last year, that the county computer system got hacked. They there was a malware program, and the county computer system was down for, you know, about a month.
It's a good
The
while.
county had to spend thousands of dollars to try to get this fixed. I don't know, they brought in some experts to fix this, and they spent, you know, it was 6 digits, over $100,000 or whatever. And, you know, that begs the question as to whether or not when you give your information online for this, you know, is it safe? I mean, they ask some very sensitive questions. Have you been convicted of a felony? That sort of thing. Do you want that, you know, online? In a system that could be hacked? I don't know. I don't think I, you know, would, but, you know, that's where we are at this point.
Yes, that's interesting. Go ahead, sir.
My name is Tim Johnson, and I'm running for the office of Genesee County Sheriff. It's time for someone who's dedicated, qualified, and experienced to hold that seat. And I gotta say, you need you don't need a politician in there, but what you really need is an individual in there who's gonna honestly fight crime and corruption without politics being involved. And I tell you, it really takes me back when I think about what happened in Flint with that water crisis money and how it was dispersed, and the city of Flint residents got nothing out of that. They got absolutely nothing but some new pipes in their homes, while other people in the downtown area got millions and millions and millions of dollars and had actually had nothing to do with the water crisis. Make that one make sense to me. But I tell you, nobody said anything about it. Nobody investigated. Nobody looked at nobody followed the dollar trail. And I think that I truly believe that we need to really take a serious look at who we're putting in office to make sure that they're not in someone's back pocket.
Come on.
Because when that kind of stuff occurs, somebody in those high positions knew about it and they did nothing about it to stop it, and they didn't take their front line to fight for the citizens in Flint who was really affected by it.
Yeah,
our
absolutely.
kids, our school system, even our school system got a little $275,000 out of all of that money, and you have school districts around the county that got millions out of that money. Make that one make sense to me, because it don't. But I tell you, the people in the places, in the power places, they knew what happened, and they said nothing, and they did nothing. It's time to stop it. It's time to stop it. We need to really do what we say we're going to do, and that's fight for the citizens.
That's right.
That's what anybody who's running for office, if they're not going to do that, then they need to step aside and let the real people come in and fight for the citizens in this community, because that's who's really losing through all of this.
Citizens are losing. That's why the Appropriations Committee in the 34th District, we have to look at who was fighting for us before.
Exactly.
That person did not fight to get that money. If that person could not tell us where that money went, and we had money that went to Lansing, the YMCA, that to me it doesn't make sense.
No, it don't.
And we didn't get the pipes inside. They were service line. They were outside. People still fighting to get their pipes restored, their refrigerators. Through their water lines, their washers, their hot water heaters. There was so much that people had to come out their pockets, and we are giving money to the YMCA in Lansing.
Let me just throw this in again, because again, we got the old boy club.
Oh yeah.
We got the Okie Doke Club. We got the people that meet with the pastors. We have people that meet behind the scenes, and then they tell us to go and literally tell your people who to vote for. Now come on now. I know y'all not going for that, as we call it, the okie doke, because we want our friend in the office, or because I'm loyal to this particular person or this particular group. People in Genesee County, wake up. You need to vet your politicians.
Absolutely.
You need to know who you're going to put into office. And Judge Maribel made a very good point. He said that his record speaks for him. And he's another person that I stand behind wholeheartedly, because I have watched him through the years. I have literally watched him do everything that he said he was going to do. And so, see, this is what is so important. See, people will get on there, just like with Tim Johnson, they'll get on there and they'll say, well, he did this. Nobody is perfect. I'm not going to do a cover-up for him either. But I'm going to say this, his good outweighs all the other stuff. We want somebody in there that's going to fight for us. That is for the people. I listen to Claudia. Like I say, I listen to these candidates. Claudia has been there. She's been through the fight. She's been through the storm. She knows exactly what she wants. Tanya is very committed. She's fought. She has children. She feels the pains and the burdens of the people. And see, these individuals, like I said, when you are vetting, you want to make sure that you are listening to them very good. That they're saying they can't be bought.
Cannot be bought.
They cannot be. Am I telling the truth?
Thank you.
Am I telling you this? I can't be bought. And as I said before, I had people to come to me and try to tell me, okie doke, well, so and so said this is who we. Okay, and well, I don't see no track record. I'm not putting nobody in there that was appointed, especially by Snyder. After what he did to us.
Amen.
And we are suffering. Like I said, we're sick. I got sick. And that's why it's so real with me right now, because I'm battling cancer because of the water, the conditions of our city. There are a lot of people out there that have connected with me too, that are in the city of Flint, that are suffering with cancer and different kind of ailments and things from the water. People, this election is real. It is real. Your life depends on it. See, as I always like to say, until it hits your house, everything is fine. While you're in your house, no one's sick, no one's feeling the pressure of being black, or no one's feeling the pressure of being sick. No one's feeling any kind of, everything's just wonderful. But let me tell you something, just like that flood hit up there in Midland, and nobody was expecting that water, was they? And see, just like so many things that can happen, we need to understand that we the people, we are all supposed to be equal. We are all United States citizens, and we want to be treated fairly and equally. And these candidates today are going to be hitting on that, why you should vote for them and put them into office. Go ahead, Tim.
If I could say this, when you think about all the revenue and money that came through this city, that should have came to this city, out of all that money for the water crisis, and you look at Flint, it looks worse now. It looks worse now than before the water crisis even hit. So what is that telling the citizens? I don't know if the citizens in Flint is really looking at that, but what that should be telling them is, where's the money at? Even in the replacement of the pipes and the streets and all that good stuff, even the streets don't represent that. When you go down most of them, they still got dirt spots where they put pipes in there. Where is the money? Where's the money? But I tell you, if they really look into it and really vet where that money went, they'll find that most of it went other places rather than this city.
You go right ahead.
Okay.
It's got you.
Okay. I told you I was with the Democracy Defense League. We are the grassroots and boots on the ground people. Right now we're in Supreme and federal court, and every time a court hearing happens, they send for us, and we have not missed a meeting. We drive all the way to Ann Arbor and or Lansing to every one of those court hearings. I want to say I flew to Washington, D.C., and I went on the Hill and was fighting about the water crisis. I am very appalled that Snyder and all his cohorts got away scot-free. I'm so mad, I'm livid. I even spoke when we brought the Attorney General's office here, over at Local 659, and I went to the podium. And I told them, we don't trust you. We don't trust any of you. And they dropped all the criminal charges against the people that even admitted that they were guilty. And we have heard absolutely nothing. So I'm appalled over a lot of stuff. When I was in Washington, D.C., I had the honor of speaking on MSNBC, and I told them the truth. I talked to Dr. Peter Gravett, who is over all the fresh water in the United States, and I talked to the highest personnel in the EPA. What I realized, because I took a delegation with me, was that they were not getting all of the truth. They didn't get any of the truth. Dr. Peter Gravett took notes, and he had 5 pages of notes. The EPA guy just broke down and cried. It's ridiculous. And I told him in my wrap-up, what I realized was that they weren't getting the real stories. I had Gina Luster there. She had a bag with her daughter's hair in it. Her teeth were falling out. She didn't have any vitamin D in her. And it was stories like that all around the room, which is why the gentleman cried. When we left there, after talking to Republican senators all over the Hill, they cut the $170 million loose. What I want to say to the residents of the city of Flint is, your money that we were supposed to get went to the YWCA of Lansing. They got over $55,000 to upgrade that. The Capitol Theater was upgraded, and
$26 million.
$26 million. So many things have happened to us. But if they had labeled us properly and said we were a disaster instead of an emergency, then the Army Corps of Engineers could have come right in and fixed all the pipes the first year. That didn't happen. So words matter. But you need people that know what they're doing and know how to do a thing to go down there and sit in that seat. We don't need on-the-job training people down there. We
true.
need people that really have proven themselves out in the field and that are still fighting for the residents of Flint. I know I'm one of those people.
Can I ask
Thank
the
you.
judge a question?
You go right
Sure.
ahead.
Judge Rebel, because I really didn't.
If I know the answer.
No, I'm assuming.
You're not going to ask me
But-
where the money is.
No.
are you?
You know that?
No, I'm not gonna ask you that. But
Okay.
my question was because I really didn't understand why they did this. But Claudia just brought up an important point when she said that the people that they had convicted, some people accepted and admitted responsibility. But Governor Rechner actually, I guess, I think
Attorney
she did.
Well, it's Attorney General Nessa.
Released
Attorney
them.
General's
Okay,
office.
they released them from.
Yeah, she had the charges dismissed. Now, I know she is saying, because she appointed Wayne County
Kim Worthy.
prosecutor,
Kim Worthy.
Kim
Kim
Worthy.
Worthy to, in her office
Fatwa
to
Hamoud.
continue the prosecution. But we have to see if the charges, see if and when they are refiled.
Yeah, right.
Well, I hear that they're getting ready to. Supposedly, they're getting ready to come back, and they're going to come back like a storm. But that's what we're hearing. But I don't. I didn't know if you know anything about.
I
it or
don't
not.
know.
One of the things that I have with speaking with, we have Fatwa Hamoud, and then you have, it's under Kim Worthy, Special Prosecutor Kim Worthy. They actually went back because Special Prosecutor Todd Flood had not discovered enough of his discovery is like about, I believe, 1% of the information. And so they had like maybe 6 cell phones and laptops, and there was almost like, I believe, 563. So they had to go back to collect the evidence that was not collected before to make sure that their case was more broad. Another thing is they felt that some of the deals that were made, people got like a slap on the hand, that it does not stay on their record. Those who took the plea deals, it didn't stick with them. It's not on their record. And it was deals that were made. They talked about it at that night at the local 659 when we were there, and you did get up and speak along with Mary Joyce Campbell.
Yes.
And I was there also. So when we talk about, what they talked about, because the community is saying we need transparency. In our government, we don't have transparency.
no.
And that's what I'm committed to, is transparency.
That's good.
The only thing I don't tell people is how much I weigh. And that's it. Because that being my chart, I tell my doctor, does not apply to African American women. So when we talk about transparency, we have to, let people know so that we don't all speculate. But that is a good question. So they are supposed to come back. Now, we were also told that they have everything is very secure. They don't have it's very tight-lipped, because they don't want information to leak out. But when you tell a city that's been poisoned and people, it went from 12 to 14 deaths to Frontline saying it was 70 positive deaths, people want to hear the truth. We need to be told something, and to not say something, say just hold on and trust me. We trust the people. They were saying the water's not brown, and it was brown.
Yeah.
It looked like Lipton iced tea.
That's right.
So when they telling us, to trust, we don't trust.
That's right.
And then you have people just left their homes. And you've got these children who are now in school who are born into the lead crisis. That lead doesn't leave the body. So we talk about it, well, we're going to give you some healthy nutrition. We're going to give you a bridge card. You need to eat more greens. That's not a fix for something. And then we have, and it goes into, they say, well, if you have lead poisoning, and then, you're more likely to be of criminal activity, how you think, then that goes into law enforcement. So we need money to make sure that our police officers
good.
are trained so that they can understand that these are children who grew up in the lead crisis, so that we're not shooting them, we're not arresting them, that we need to learn how to deal with them appropriately.
And it also goes into the
The
judicial
court,
system.
absolutely, because they're going to be before you.
Because it isn't just lead. There are lots of things that I've had to preside over in 20 years that have made national news for Flint, Michigan. That I would say have really trained me well to be able to handle circuit court. Something else, and I want to talk about the pandemic. I don't know, do we have time or not?
No, we don't have time. But guess what? We will be back. And we will finish this conversation. Again, as I told you before, you need to vet your politicians that are going into office. You need to know exactly what they're representing. Call me if you want to attend the show. I put out letters. I've called everyone. We're trying to give every candidate a possibility to be able to come on the show